Hello, and welcome to another after show of the People's Ascension. This is for episode 21. We are on 21 episodes already. I know I say that every time. It's always an exclamation when I look at how many episodes we're doing. And I am super thankful. I'm going to roll this right into thanking our patrons. Super thankful to all of our followers and all of our supporters and all of our players for continuing not only this game but the stream, because I know we played for a long time without it being a stream, and these guys are amazing for going along with it. So enjoy another after show of our rambling and wild speculation.
Molly
So,
might be rejoining, or Arlene might be rejoining us.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
her dog sitting got canceled for the evening.
Oh, well, I was just going to say we are down our Tempest twins, but we may be picking one of them up.
We'll have half of them.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll see how long this after show is, because it was a fairly contained, straightforward episode. Most of it recap and just wrapping our heads around everything. A lot of
Yeah.
I don't know, a lot of planning, a lot of talking things through, as I believe Stephen mentioned last week. That it's just you need some time just to talk it through, and to bounce ideas off of each other, and just to hear yourselves talking about things, hoping that some things will eventually click. And that's pretty much what this episode was. It was reminding us, and hopefully you as the audience, of information that we had, information from a long time ago, because we're picking up on this campaign is touching on little bits and pieces of sporadic things that have popped up over the course of the last 2 years for us. And then, of course, disseminating that information in a meaningful way for NPCs to properly respond to it. So, let's start off with the usual question. How's everyone doing? What do we feel about this episode?
All right. I mean, I suppose I should have known better. I was hoping that if I did that, clear statement of intent at the beginning, we would be able to get through it and power through with some direction, but I should know us better.
I was trying. I was trying to get you guys to.
Like I said, I was wondering why none of the new stuff we had was getting brought up, and then eventually it's like, I'm gonna say something about Sagana.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't seem to be accomplishing anything.
Well, to be fair, Jack, you did open up real hard with the High Arbiter not being a fan of anything remotely necromantic.
Yes.
And
well, that might make him want to help us more, because we're trying to stop necromantic cult.
Yeah, but depending on the level of fanaticism, it might also mean it doesn't matter. No compromises. And I'm not going to allow that shit right here in front of me.
Yeah, I don't believe in the lawful stupid paladin.
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to play that. I was one of those, it's like, I suspect he's one who's willing to make small compromises for the greater good, if he doesn't see them necessarily as compromising himself.
Because I'm sure you guys noticed, pretty much all of your actionable information was in that last book. So I wasn't going to have Askabal be like, a necromancer touched that book, we must burn it now! No.
Well, the books I was
really use it.
The books I wasn't as concerned about with that. It was the Sagana body.
Oh, which nothing really came up for. You're like, hey, bring out Sagana, and then you looked at her for a bit and moved on.
Well, like I said, it's like, it's here. You want to talk with? Okay, nobody's gonna suggest.
Well, Ander was the only one doing, I should say, most of the talking. Aquila had some
input,
flippin' remarks every now and then, but that's not necessarily helpful.
Flippant, but you seem to take everything though.
I take most things Aquila says as flippant and slightly insulting, because they usually come off that way.
I'm sorry, she doesn't always mean it that way.
Well,
I mean, I did like. You did have that conversation with I think it was the High Arbiter you were talking with.
There was a little
Over there
back and
after?
forth with both Askapol and the High Arbiter. For a little bit there.
I mean, you just said the High Arbiter the same both times, just
Oh,
one his name and one
Malkazir
his title.
and Askapol, I should say. I got Askapol on my head because I really like him as an NPC.
Yeah, like I said, it's like
And I am Malkazir, so it feels weird saying Malkazir because it's like talking in the third person.
Yeah, no, I do.
Because that's my character. Anytime I bring up Malkazir, I'm like, wait, that's me. Oh, right, he's an NPC.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Hey,
we
there's a
might
towel
have a
Arlene.
Tempest Twin here.
Arlene!
We got Arlene
yay!
back. That
Yeah.
messes up the overlay. Hooray!
Yay!
Well, you need to fix that overlay anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so keep saying things while I
Okay.
work on this.
Okay.
And
Go
ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say my take on, so like by bringing in the body, we have attempted to question bodies before,
Yeah, that's why I wasn't saying anything.
and but at the same time, like, I know you're not going to just give us things, but at the same time, there's been a meeting organized that has Malkazir and the High Arbiter guy, who seem like some of the most knowledgeable people on the subject, especially compared to us. It doesn't, like, I feel like if I was in that situation in real life, it'd be like, you guys probably are the ones that should be dealing with that body. Y'all would know the questions that would be more appropriate than us at this point.
Well, I would say that I believe that the High Arbiter and the Theologian as a whole would vastly and completely disagree using a Talk to Dead spell. And I believe that any questions that Malkazir would ask her, he would want to ask his own questions in the privacy of his own office.
Yeah, no,
Fair.
that
Not
part.
in front of other people.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
going to be self-serving.
Yeah, he gives zero fucks about.
Yeah, he's
Frankly, about what the rest of the people at that table care about. In my opinion,
Sure.
I can't say that for certain.
I don't trust him at all.
It definitely seems more and more like that.
Again, this is outsider perspective because I was basically a spectator this episode, but
Yeah.
holy fuck, it sounds like he has ascended to lichdom. Cough, cough. Or at least his interpretation of it.
He looks pretty good for a lich.
Yeah. Like, the way he was talking about it, it's like...
He's very flippant about shit, and it's like, unless you have an out of this whole thing, I feel like you're not taking this seriously enough.
Out of the meeting or out of in general?
Yes.
Because he definitely had an out in the meeting.
Well, yes.
Well,
in the sense that he wasn't really there.
Wasn't even in.
Right.
An out that you can survive the apocalypse. You are taking both the situation and the meeting very flippantly.
I feel like he would just, switch sides. He's a necromancer. It's a necromantic cult. It's.
I
It
don't
came
think
down
it
to
would
he
be
totally
that.
would.
As I said, I don't think it would necessarily be that straightforward. He has his own interests.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely
But
does.
I don't know that he would
vicious.
necessarily join up with the cult.
Not joining,
And
at least like allies.
That doesn't mean I
with him or
trust. That doesn't
something.
mean I trust him. It's
I definitely don't.
no. Listen,
got
it doesn't mean I
ulterior
trust him. It
motives, I
just
can
means
tell.
I don't think that his end goal is exactly that.
And I figured, the High Arbiter would not be down with speak with dead, which is why I was worried about the corpse in general. Because I didn't have anything else to do with it. And so it was like, well, we're either going to speak with it, or y'all are gonna examine it.
Well, we did a little of examining.
Yeah.
Right.
I was quite pleased that nobody else in there, it's like, nobody that doesn't know what Akila is didn't ask why she knows as much about undead as
Yeah, I think they had other things to, think about.
well, I know.
I think they like a mental note to ask about it later, but I don't know if they were going to address it right then and there.
Maybe you're just a competent and knowledgeable adventurer.
Who knows an awful lot
Yeah.
about who knows how to examine undead.
Maybe you're a ranger. Or
Why
a
would
cleric of some
rangers know
sort.
about undead?
Monster Slayer, I believe, is a
Oh,
would
tells you
have
how much
particular
I'll be honest,
insights in Ranger.
yeah, I'll
Yeah.
say that tells you how much I've looked at Ranger.
Yeah.
Rules is written, all rangers get favored enemies.
Right,
Yeah.
that's
which
right.
Can be undead.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And I believe they also have access to detect good and evil spells and whatnot. So you could easily make a ranger focused on undead.
And to be fair, the way you're outfitted isn't that far away from it.
And the concept of classes again isn't really
right.
isn't really a thing in this world.
Yeah.
Right, but if you're used to seeing a ranger walking around with medium-ish armor and a couple twin swords or something, that's definitely an archetype.
Yeah.
And metal armor.
They can wear metal.
Nope,
This
she's
is
in a breastplate.
This is totally off topic, but I just came to the realization that I think Schleva will fit in with this group because half of you guys look like fucking druids anyway.
That is true.
I was just like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
wait a
I mean, Tali's got vines in her hair.
There's
Also-
the dark wood armor that you're wearing.
Yeah.
There's the weird cape of
And her dress is like a druid because it's all brown and green.
I mean, and you've also got that grass armor.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he was saying.
Yeah.
I
Chlorophyll.
was also assuming you guys weren't attending this meeting in full adventure
No.
armor.
No,
Yeah.
So
no.
yes,
I know.
but
I did have a thought at one point of just having Akil wear a shirt with sleeves to cover up all of her scars.
And
But then it's like, it didn't seem to matter.
to be fair, Andrew's probably the most down with, Tali's probably down with druids too on a just innocence level.
Tali's just fine with it.
I feel like Andrew has a certain a very sympathetic understanding of them.
In some ways, Akil is, on a personal level, kind of sympathetic towards druids.
well, good.
Not in a
I'm glad-
professional level.
I'm glad I'm getting the sympathy vote.
Well, no,
These
because
yeah.
I should say sympathy as in Andrew doesn't understand why. Once again, blanket
empathy.
statements about a group don't exactly jive with him.
yeah, fair. I said it's like not super fond of the professional stance that they have of druids.
well, maybe they should stop worshipping beings that are trying to destroy the world.
Ye.
Yeah.
Oh, what do Goliaths worship again?
Stone giants.
Do druids necessarily have to worship a primordial? Or are all primordials connected at the end of the chain to like nature spirits and stuff like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So actually, I believe that the Goliath religion does believe in a version of Druidas,
Yeah, I think you've mentioned it before.
but specifically Druidas, and not
Yeah.
the other three, and not as a whole as
Oh, yeah.
Primordius.
Yeah, no,
Which
no,
is
it's specifically that
distinction
one because
enough, considering their minuscule population, that it's not really a problem for the Empire.
Okay, I thought you mentioned before that it would be considered, but that was a while.
Yeah,
in
I
practice,
mean,
it would
if-
have been considered very the same.
If you were very openly worshipping Druidas in public, yes, people would have definitely confused you with a druid, and there would be problems. But just because you're a Goliath doesn't mean you're
Oh no, I
you're
mean, I
anything
expect
else.
most people don't know what Goliaths worship anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, so it hasn't really been
Like
a
I said,
problem.
Yeah, I said, and yeah, it's not like Aquila didn't totally lose her faith after everything that happened.
Stephen Fripp? No, okay. You were very still for a while there.
Oh no, I was just trying to think that if all druids eventually end up back at Primordius, nature is connected to primordials, but if the primordials wake up, everything goes away, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the
it's
primordials wake up, according to the Genavian view of the Pantheon, the Earth literally splits in four, and it's
Right.
catastrophic annihilation in totality.
Which would get rid of
Why 4?
which would
Because there's 4 primordials.
which would destroy
Okay,
everything
gotcha,
that druids revere, and that
But it
nature
would all
now goes
reform
bye-bye.
later. It's cyclical.
Yeah.
Well, to either reform
mean-
later if you believe in the cyclicalness, or to split off into its rawest, most constituent parts, or they would go into the Feywild. There's a whole, like I said, a whole religion around this, which we can go into probably in game because I don't want to do it all out of character on an after show. But
I will say, nature isn't all flowered and rainbows.
mm-hmm.
It's volcanoes and earthquakes and floods. It's violent stuff too.
Yeah.
So
that it's generally not self-destructive.
sure it is.
Yeah, it is. But after that self-destruction, it is about reclamation.
Yeah, it's like our continents tear themselves apart every few million years.
Mm-hmm. Wildfires decimate forests, which then regrow because of the fire. Yeah.
Yeah, that there are trees whose acorns specifically need to be burnt in order for new trees to be hatched.
And floodplains. I mean,
Yeah.
each element has its own destructive force.
Let me clarify then. Yes, I realize that destruction is necessary for certain things. I lived in the country. You had to do controlled burns to, keep things growing correctly. There is a controlled destruction to bring new life, and then there's like global warming that kills a planet.
Well, that's man-made.
But let me finish my sentence, the thought.
Right,
Give me a second. Let me just finish. I feel like splitting everything, waking the primordials, is like the global warming situation, where you're just gonna wreck everything.
Oh, it's like I don't think the druids are trying to wake the primordials, but they accept that is going to happen.
Fair,
Because they're not the same as the cult of dreamers.
Right.
So then, what was the basis for them being illegal again then?
On top of a whole bunch of
not Genavian gods.
Not Genavian gods, deities whose main intent and purpose for existence is the utter annihilation of everything. Probably a whole bunch of politics involved as well. Differences in how they view religion and life and civilization. It's a whole nuanced thing. And you're right. Parts of it don't make sense. But again, you're working with Genavian perspectives.
I think it's also, I think that's a little bit of the point too, is the primordials tearing the world apart is the Genavian perspective of it. Druids see that differently.
Mm-hmm. And it's it's an
Not
aspect that they have accepted,
but that they see those primordials as the controlling forces of Eos.
We should explore this more in game now that we actually have a druid. And we've talked about some of this, Christian and I. So let's hold off on this conversation, and we can figure out what druids are in game, because I think that'll be more impactful.
Yeah.
Fair.
Let's get back to What?
Also, Druid Wars.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. There was Druid
The
Wars.
Druid Wars. Yep.
We'll stop talking about it.
Sure. Yeah. Let's get back to the show that comes after the show we just did.
Yeah.
After show, if you will.
The after show.
What a novel concept.
Well,
I
on the
thought you had
subject
Never mind. Go ahead.
on the subject of illegal casters, and
Mhm.
that was the reason the books hadn't gotten brought up just yet,
hmm
because even if we managed to get them open at the time, I was very concerned that either they were going to be ciphered as they were, or more accurately, I was concerned they were going to just be written in a different language, and then it's either, if no one in, like I said, if no one in the room can read it, then I was worried about them getting taken away to be deciphered or something, which I'm still mildly concerned about.
Yeah.
I really don't want to. I would really like to take both those books with us when we leave this room. We will see if that happens or not.
Definitely.
Well, they were written in the languages that I was expecting, and I will say it's like Akila knows Celestial and Sebgi knows Infernal. So if they weren't ciphered, then we probably could have, working together, figured it out. Not saying it
With
would have
time.
been easy, but it would have, would
Yeah.
have taken time.
Yeah.
And none of us are experts on that, which is my concern, was that they're going to be like, oh, well, we have an expert. We'll take care of that.
Right. Because it's not only a matter of can you read the language, but do you also understand the terminology? Do you have the vocabulary for it? Yeah.
And I was afraid answering some of those
It's
questions.
like I'm proficient in it.
And then some of those questions bring up some of those things bring up, well, how do you know this when it comes to Ander?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was already a little worried about someone being like, who saw there was no magic? So it was going to be like, Sevki?
Yeah, I was.
mean, we do
I'm
have a
like, Ender's
sorcerer.
kind of towing the line there.
True. I don't know if Sevki actually knows detect magic, though.
No, but she didn't have to tell anyone that.
True, unless it comes up at some point. Or with the way things went down, if it could have come
You
up
could
again.
just say she forgot how to use it.
I mean, you said you were so concerned about that, but then you went out with the book like you could do something.
Well, my
Except for
specific
backup, in case
concern
someone
was
spell magic.
exactly what happened, just
with the
the
wrong book.
With the
frickin'
wrong book.
Mm.
Yep.
Well, that's it's like the moment Tully opened it, she was like, I'm gonna open it, the second one. And I'm like, oh. Because it's one of those, it's like, because it's right in the middle. It's gonna be the not because I thought you intentionally made it the one that was gonna do something bad, but just because it's like, no, this is the way this sort of thing works. It's like, we got rid of the one that we thought was gonna be super dangerous. We did not get rid of the one that was actually dangerous. I mean, the other one was probably dangerous too, but
Yeah.
it's
I
just-
understand how the mechanics of that worked.
Mhm.
Like, I get that. I just don't know how the hell how any of us were supposed to, like, prevent that.
Things happen when you're an adventurer.
Yep.
I know. I mean, fortunately, that was not so much damage that it was going to take any of us out. Even if we hadn't opened it in the middle of the room with everybody else, it would have been easier.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just frustrating trying to do the dude. Like, I really did try
Mm-hmm.
due diligence to prevent everything, and then to actually just have it.
Blow up in your face.
You never know that.
Well, as
That
Malkazir
book could have
said,
been worse.
you can't look out for something if you're not aware of it existing.
Shut up, Malkazir.
Yes.
Excuse you.
Playing with tape.
I
Mhm.
suppose it's trying to reconcile the real world mindset versus the gamer mindset, where
Mhm.
in a game, from the gamer's perspective, and I'm not pointing fingers at anyone before anyone gets to, is just why trying to reconcile the frustration at the situation. Because in the game mindset, like, all traps have a solution.
Yeah.
you were never forced to get hit by something that there wasn't some way to avoid.
Oh, this had a solution. You just didn't find it.
And that's what that was my thing, was I don't know how we were supposed to find that, but I'm sure there was something. Just looking at it at the time, it's like, well, how the hell did we...
Also, learning from your experiences. Now, you know this is something to be suspicious of.
I don't know how.
Don't say that, because then you gave us shit because we weren't suspicious. The wording of that is meh. Y'all are so suspicious of everything. Yes, we are.
Because you've given us reason to be.
Don't worry about it.
So I don't know how Jack would have handled this as a DM. Magic Aura is intentionally, particularly the way it was used in this way, is an intentionally tricky spell. The only other thing that could have been done that is maybe simply a time issue or timing issue is an identify spell on those books. Well, identify would not have told you this spell or this book has a concealment spell on it hiding other things. It would technically reveal to you false information about that book. In which case, that's the way that the spell is worded. Particularly if divination magic is used to try to figure out what the object tied to the spell is, false information is revealed about this object. So like I said, I don't know how Jack would have handled that specifically, but that would have been a sign that perhaps something was tampered with.
Well, I suppose it depends on how you word false information. Because, I mean, it could just been, oh, it's not magic. Identify returns nothing because it's not magical. Is technically false information.
And Jack could have simply done that. I'm saying, I prefaced it with, I don't know how he would have done it. But as opposed to a simple detect magic, that would have been the next step. But obviously, as he said, can't prepare for something if you don't know something exists.
Yeah, why would you cast Identify on the random non-magical book?
Right.
Well, I certainly know how I would handle it, but you told me to be quiet.
And obviously, the next step would be to be the overly paranoid, to simply dispel magic on both books, regardless of there being magic on them or not. Although those are not your spell slots to throw around, so...
Yeah. I mean, I did have that thought, but it didn't seem worth voicing until after the fact.
Or there's the chaotic version, where you get somebody you don't like to open the book for you.
Hey, I got you a present!
And if...
Or like the time I had Rauda open the treasure. Not Rauda, that was Saba.
If Dispel Magic had hit like it just was an area thing, yeah, I probably would have brought the book out, but I was thinking it's one thing at a time.
Right, it is one object, yeah.
Yeah. And the logical thing, like, yes, you're right. The paranoid part of me is just like, have her cast on everything, just to blanket.
Accidentally dispel magic, a powerful, useful magical item.
Well, and that was kind of my concern too, was if there was something inside the book that for some reason I couldn't pick up, I also don't want to dispel anything that might have been useful at some point.
Right.
Yeah, the thing that would have triggered me personally to dispel magic was the fact that your dagger did not cut that.
Yeah, that was the thing. It's like, that's so weird. I don't trust that.
Very, very true that 100% it could have just been a very different type of leather. That's the only other thing for me that, again, everything in hindsight, in retrospect.
And yeah, and that's in hindsight, it's like, God damn it. But yeah, I Occam's razored it down to like, well, it just looks like leather, but it's not.
I was sure that was going to give it away. I was sure your next response would have been, Tali!
Oh, like I was like,
Come turn this off for me.
It was just like a really.
I didn't know that
leather.
the magic aura thing was even a possibility.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know that something could do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
mhm.
And so, yeah, Occam's razor in my head just narrowed it down to, well, or it's some kind of weird, like, undead creature leather that, I don't know, we're dealing with very powerful things here. Maybe it got a hold of something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know that it was necessarily Sagana's book. Like, it could have been something that she was given by either Andrashidid or
I mean,
Yeah.
it
n-
clearly
Shiloh.
had been in other people's hands, though.
no,
So-
Shiloh.
Shiloh.
There we go.
Shailwell?
Shiloh.
Shoop whoop.
Yeah,
Shibbity-dee.
no, I could easily
I'm
rationalize.
gonna kill all
that.
of you with that spear.
Yeah, now it's like, oh, it was magic. I just couldn't see it. Hence why regular
Yeah.
weapons don't do anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could
well-
easily rationalize regular weapons not doing anything by the statues of her army, who were basically impervious. You know, maybe it's the same sort of thing. It's not magic, but it's not magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
In between.
well, like I said, it's like I had the thought, but it was one of those where it's like, yeah, but Aquila can be overly paranoid, so I don't see. Oh, yes, I know. So it's like it's like I can't think of rational why they would.
If you make the hat
why
out
they
of
would
lead,
dispel magic on that, but it was a thought I had, but I didn't voice it because it's like don't have a justification for it
if you make
except
the hat out of
suspicion.
lead, if you make it out of lead, nobody can scry on you. You are indetectable. Just a whole lead safe. Just put your head inside of it.
That
That is
sounds
where you live. That is
terrifying.
the happy place.
And of course, with my initial, because my initial plan and instinct was, all right, bring Sagana's body out. That whole thing's gonna end up pissing somebody off. Call for a recess then, and bring Malkazir and Tali to deal with the books while we're doing a recess. That way we can find out the hell's going on with them before bringing them to anyone to know if whether or not it's worth bringing them out, which would have at least kept the effect controlled more.
That's what I was expecting you to do.
And that was my plan. And then it seemed like there was multiple sources of pressure to just go ahead and bring the books out. And most of the time, I feel like my overly cautious instincts end up not working out. And it was like, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we just need to bring these out here because we're missing information. And of course, this was the time where no, the instinct was right.
Well, I hope I wasn't too pressuring on that, but the information in those books I expected to disseminate to you guys in the first hour or so, not after 4.5. Because that's where I'm sure you guys realized, that's where all of the actionable information was.
Oh yeah.
That was kind of supposed to be the focus of this meeting, discussing what
Yeah.
was in these books.
To be fair, you did make that information very, very difficult to get to.
Yeah.
This is Jack.
I know, but it's that the Jack fallacy. I'm gonna start referring to it or Jack paradox.
I like that one better.
Yeah,
I like
I
fallacy.
do too.
The other one could be misconstrued.
I think paradox is actually the more
misheard.
appropriate one.
Paradox makes sense.
It does.
Yes, the important information that's right there, and yet it's so obscured you don't get to it.
It wasn't obscured, it was just protected.
Eh,
A lot of layers of
Concentration.
protection for
There's a
essential
bit of overlap there, Jack.
Yeah, there is. Yep. Wizards, man, we're tricky.
You're not a fucking wizard.
And for the spell book, that would have been fine, because like that's not story progress critical. that's just, I might be able to get something out of that. Maybe, we'll see. The story progress critical had a lot of layers of, haha, get
yeah,
fucked.
that one.
And it makes sense that that book would be very protected because that had their information. But at the same time, that was what we needed to move forward. As I said, the Jack paradox is a more
Yeah.
appropriate.
Mhm.
I see Jack's side. I also feel like, god damn it, moving the story forward should not require detonating the bomb in my face.
It didn't require it. It was just one of many solutions.
Sometimes it's the quickest solution.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't the only actionable source that you had. It's just the only one that was obvious enough. I can't make it just much more obvious than just handing you a book or two. I mean, unless I want to have the Cult of Worms actually install billboards on the road between Carriquin and Dupont. I mean, but
Might be a good way to drum up new members.
right.
I mean, you didn't just hand us that book, to be fair.
True, we did have
Literally-
to kill Sagana first and then pull it off her corpse.
Yeah, well, I was expecting you to find that book in Sagana's tent way back when.
Once again,
Right.
Oh,
'Cause we never actually searched her
Because
tent.
you never actually searched her tent.
yeah, we did.
because
Oh,
we were
shit.
trying to be,
Because we were trying to act.
Yeah, we're trying to save
Well,
Omen.
also trying to fit in with the realistic
That
world,
wasn't-
not go full murder hobo and just start turning everyone's shit over.
Like we weren't trying to save Omen at
And
that point. That was
there's-
before then.
There's a difference between going full murder hobo and performing a discreet investigation.
We were still trying to act on, we had a open hole in the ground.
Last time,
No one here is great at discreet.
And
last
like a
time-
whole week before you found the hole in the ground. Anyway, Christian.
the last time we tried a discreet operation, two of us ended up in jail.
Well, no, because after that we tried sneaking into the palace or the whatever the place was.
Yeah, we didn't really sneak in by the end of that.
Not by the end. We got through for a little while. Longer than I expected. Considering your stealth disadvantage, I mean, your poor stealth skills and my disadvantage at the time.
Mhm.
Yeah, sneakily trying to go through people's tents would have been getting caught. Especially at that point, because we really didn't have anyone.
We had a couple things we could have acted on, and I should have acted on. Yeah, but so about that actionable information.
Yeah, you have some now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I
we
said,
have
I
a lot of
didn't
it.
realize Strock was that bad.
As,
Considering the whole thing was we are not savages, I thought we could at least move through Strock without worrying about getting jumped. So
I mean,
yeah.
feel free to go back and read the character creation guide because there's excerpts
Mhm.
on all of the provinces there, and those are written in Genavian, from a Genavian standpoint. So any information in there is pretty much free information. So you can read that for more clarification. But again,
actually
coming
did
from a
just. I was gonna say I did actually just read through that recently because you asked that question about,
Mhm.
and I read through them all to figure out because I thought I knew which ones I wanted to answer, but I'm like, well, let me go refresh my memory before I say
Mhm.
that. And yeah, my thinking was that it wasn't going to be a fun place to be, and something about the descriptions and the stuff. It's like, well, maybe it's really not. Like maybe it's all propaganda. And it's really just not that bad, and they're more civilized than people want to make them out to be.
How much did you guys know about Gorik? Too many characters, man.
Not
Nothing?
much.
Okay. I don't
But
remember
Jerome-
how much I told you. He was a character for all of like 3 sessions.
yeah.
Ander was
Something like that, yeah.
Steven was gone for at least one of those sessions.
Yeah.
The one where he fell from a great height was dropped.
Yep. Fair enough. Moving on. He's not the only half orc. I just did air quotes. My camera's off. He's not the only half orc you guys have met, but certainly the most
Yeah.
savage.
Yeah.
Was he
Like
from Strock directly?
Yeah, wasn't he?
Don't remember, but so with that in mind, yes, I suppose Sanket.
Yeah. I mean, the good news is you've got somebody who can speak the local language with that one.
Yeah. Kilo
Well,
would
you
be
mean
able to speak Sanite.
Just
Or Sans, I should
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Christian?
I said you mean common, and then I giggled to myself. And I
Right.
said, I'm fucking
I
Is
really
that, like-
hate common.
Well,
Yeah.
except that, yes, in a logical world, it doesn't make sense, but it's just one of those things that's supposed to make playing the game not a giant pain in the ass. If everyone speaks a different language, no one can move around and do
Again,
anything.
we have drastically different views of what is enjoyable and what is a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
I
there's
don't necessarily mind the regional languages. I said I don't necessarily mind them.
I think in concept, in theory, it is really, really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Getting rid of the quote unquote racial languages because of the that's not the right word. The disparity of distinct racial cultures that I believe the Empire is built around, I think it makes a ton of sense.
Mm.
There are some languages, some player's handbook languages that I think fit as being player's handbook languages that are quote unquote exotic. And I like the idea of it. I don't know in practice how you make a game like that work, and I think that Jack has followed the same train of thought. I don't know how you make a game like that work if everybody is from different provinces and everybody speaks different languages.
Yeah, that was my exact point. Was
If we were all from the same province, I think that would be a super cool way to find roadblocks in the world, find language barriers, have to communicate and roleplay in a different way. I think that would be really cool to explore. As somebody who really enjoys going to other countries and
Yeah.
enjoys the social aspect
Yeah.
of learning new languages.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more or less what I'm going for, because you all do speak Genavian Common, just like a lot of the people in the Roman Empire, which were many more than just the Italians. Most of them spoke Roman and or Greek. But when you go to a small hillbilly town somewhere, they speak their own regional language. If you're dealing with written history, it's written in its own regional language.
Well, you used to see that in more isolated places in the U.S.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it.
That's fun to learn languages.
And also,
Mhm.
I think this was in the player's handbook, but I don't know if it was mentioned directly or just implied, or if anyone even paid any attention to it. But when you go through character creation and you are allowed to choose languages, you can choose regional languages instead of player handbook languages. And if you can justify why you would know a particular regional language, I'll probably just give it to you. But, I mean, it's a big world. There's lots of cultures. Everyone speaks different things. When you're dealing with important people, you'll largely be able to get basic concepts across using Genavian Common. But everyday people, I mean...
I said, I understand that's how the world would
Conceptually.
work. Yeah. It just, and I don't know if it's a personal, like a difference in people, or if it's a difference in the situation too. Because I mean, yeah, Christian definitely would be the other person who has probably dealt with language barriers on a regular basis, I always ran into them working hospitality at a front desk at a hotel where we had travelers from different areas.
Yeah, I
And
literally
language
had that
barriers
today at work.
language barriers, I feel like every time I've ever encountered one, it's been, do you want me to go out and buy guns so we can shoot both of ourselves in the head? Like,
Yeah.
it seems like both parties on both, especially in a situation, and I think maybe it's just where stress is involved versus not. Because, yeah, like when you're in a strange country trying to check in, and I'm trying to do my job and get you in, language barriers make me want to kill myself.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
it's,
I totally get that. I mean, it's a huge problem.
yeah, like learning languages, fun. Dealing with a place where you don't know the language, nightmarish.
Well,
my
then here's
mind.
fun. Throck is Orcish.
Right. I also, like I said, I thought it was a little bit closer and had more Genavian influence than it did.
It might.
Okay.
You'll see when you get there, if you go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am thoroughly excited to travel outside of this province for a substantial amount of time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
same.
want you guys to discover other regions, other cultures, other people. I don't want to give you all of the information ahead of time.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where Sleva goes. She will be a fish out of water, sometimes literally anywhere in the world.
Yeah, what you
What-
gonna
what-
do
what
if
we
we end up
find-
in the middle of the desert?
Pangolin.
Not, I didn't mean animals. I meant without as much grass.
You say pangolin, and I very briefly thought about trying to convince you to let me have a pangolin animal companion. But
Pangolins are awesome.
yeah, they're destructive fuckers.
Those are super cute.
They
They're
are.
super cute, but they destroy everything.
You know.
I mean,
Where
unfortunately,
did you
there are no
pick up that
pangolins.
information?
Uh,
Like, I didn't know that. Where did you pick that up at?
I guess it's random internet knowledge.
Mhm.
Fair.
I've never. Well, no, I have seen pangolins in captivity, not in the wild. But yeah, they're destructive little fuckers.
I was more curious if that came from some experience or you knew someone
No.
who had an experience.
It's
Nothing
from
quite that
the
exciting.
pet
I met
pangolin
one.
he keeps in his garage.
Bullshit. We would have heard
I
something.
saw it. It's in
I
there. I
mean,
saw it.
I can think of less or more surprising things, honestly.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so
I'm just excited to see where you guys want to go. But I will say I want to know where you guys want to go before next episode, because I'm not preparing a dozen different places.
Aw. But how am I supposed to use my teleport magic? Just teleport to random places.
Yeah, I don't think you have that yet.
Jack's like, oh fuck, what did I do?
Fucking druids, they can
Druids
do
are like-
everything.
It's like, fuck, does he have that one yet?
Well, next level I get access to reincarnate, so.
Yep,
God.
because that was a blast the first time.
Literally, yeah.
I mean, I think the two biggest contenders are Sonket and Strock, probably, just because those are the ones that have the most information.
Yeah, those are my
I
top two.
will admit to being either vacant or zoning out for some of the other options. I think that stuff came up like right at the end when I was
Yeah.
grabbing my food from the
Yeah, there
delivery
was.
guy who refuses to leave food at my doorstep when I ask him to leave food at my doorstep.
Yeah, I've had that before too with delivery people.
That's
It's like, oh my
annoying.
god, I literally wrote on. I was like, I wrote on your instructions, leave it at the door.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to you.
Or we just say
Also,
like,
there's
don't
still a
ring the
fucking
doorbell
delay.
because the dogs will go nuts, and they still ring the doorbell. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's
literally
like,
told
yeah, I've
you
got
not to
that
ring
on
the
there
doorbell.
too, where I'm like,
Yeah.
it literally is like, do not ring doorbell. Text me when you drop my food off.
Usually do, but every once in a while I get that
Sunket,
one.
Strock. I thought I heard
Also, Linmus.
There was
Limus and
Linmus.
the Feywild, which
Oh, yeah.
could be Korsta because there's
Yeah, the forest.
supposedly there's just gates that open to the Feywild in there.
could definitely be Corsa.
My big thing is it's like, yes, we just don't have a way to reliably get back and forth, and that's concerning. Oh, right.
yeah,
I forgot about you. I've got to get used to the druid.
You did
the
say
problem.
reliably, though. That's a lie. Reliably would be a lie.
Oh, okay.
I can get us there.
And the problem with a
Mm-hmm.
no, I was gonna say the problem with the Feywilds is that a different language is bad. A different plane of existence is
We've been there once before.
yes, very quickly. I would not want to spend a night there.
I don't blame you.
I don't think whatever we were going to do in the Feywild was going to be a run in, beat
No.
the shit out of a bear and run out.
No.
And yeah, that
It's like,
place
my
didn't
problem with-
seem fun.
Yeah, my problem with Linmus is, again, that one just doesn't have a lot.
Not a lot of information.
Yeah, not a lot of information.
You know about the place, but not about this Tusk Lord person.
Yeah,
so.
which again means we'd have to go asking people, and we're so good at that.
So, what's the difference distance-wise between, I guess, center of Janavia and border of Strock, border of Songket?
Okay.
Sunket's across the ocean.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, the
Okay.
the
The sea, the Altemian
Nerd
Sea.
adventure.
it's the inner sea.
Whereas Strock borders, right?
Strock is in between Korsta and Bardacia.
Oh, okay. It's not right
Oh.
there.
Sanket is, I mean, the city of Sanket is
Right there on the coast.
Hmm?
You said right there on the coast.
Yeah. It's directly across the Altemian Sea, but the widest portion of the Altemian Sea. I mean,
Songket's not still hostile to Janavia, is it?
No.
Okay. I didn't think so.
Sanket is now Sanket is the second, probably the largest city in the empire. I think it's even bigger than Janavium.
I think you
That's
said
what
that
I
before.
thought so, considering that's where Aquila's from, and there doesn't seem to be any
Yeah.
obvious hostility. But I also didn't realize that there had been that much in the past. So
Mhm.
it's like, oh, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong thing.
Nope.
So I guess it
But
really,
that-
yeah, it come. Oh,
that-
go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's like, but that would basically just be a ship traveled directly across the sea at that point.
I mean, to get to Sanket, you would from Janavia, either via Dupont or Neos Noah, you would either
Mhm.
travel southwest down the coast of Korsta, make the hop to Sedula,
Mm.
and then make the hop down to the western side of Sanket, and then take a boat along, eastward towards the city of Sanket along the coastline there. Or from, say, Dupont, you would go down the eastern and then southeastern coast of Alistia or of Estia and then Alistia, and then make the hop down to the eastern side of Sanket and take a boat westward to get to the city of Sanket.
Okay, so they don't just go straight across.
No, you don't want to sail in open waters like that.
I don't know.
What is it? Simply sail to Suncat.
Ultimian
There's
Sea
clearly
has a
things
giant
in there.
toad god in it now too.
That is
Right,
also true.
that I
does.
forgot about him again.
You don't want to be in the middle of the ocean with that. That would
And
be way too scary.
sea travel in a time period similar to this one brings its own set of
Mhm.
oh god, we're all
Pirates.
gonna die situations.
Oh yeah, a big storm,
Yeah, pirates is
pirates. Yep.
Pirates would
is
be
just
cool.
one thing.
Yeah,
At least
pirates.
that's
Crazy sea monsters.
Okay, that one, yes. Pirates, I'm less concerned about.
yeah. As I say, pirates is the one
Cthulhu.
thing we could probably deal with. It's the giant
Kraken.
storms and
Hmm.
So I think
Birdie.
to me it comes down to a more hospitable place, since Sunket is not hostile,
Hostile.
but information that is much more likely to be lost to time, kind of thing. Versus, yes, a more hostile environment, but a much more recent
More recent doesn't necessarily
figure.
mean it's going to be easier to get.
Also, there's
In the
two
sense of-
forms of hostile environment. There's the people,
I was
there's
also
the
noticing
society,
all the mountains.
and then there's the actual terrain. Sanket is 90% desert.
Fun.
Yes, strictly speaking, information-wise, I'm
Sure.
more concerned about people at the moment.
Right. Sure.
Yeah, I was noticing all of the mountains. Way to.
You're breaking up.
Sorry, I said I was noticing all of the
Mountain.
mountains on the way to.
You did it again. On the way to where?
Windstruck.
I believe that was
On the way to.
Strock? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. A lot of mountains.
And yes, so more recent, but people who are not friendly to you does make information hard to find. But more recent
And-
does mean that it's less likely, not impossible, less likely that the information is just gone or forgotten.
Though at the same time, if none of us know that language, there's a big old problem with they can just fucking deceive us.
I mean, that's not language based necessarily, but
Yeah, sure it is, because they don't. So it's a lot. If we can't, it's people. It's
Well,
locals
body
talking.
language
It's
wise,
people talking
maybe
to each
not,
other,
but
and you can hear them, so you can tell if they're being dishonest.
fair.
Versus,
I mean,
versus only having to rely on what they.
once again, didn't get the last thing you said.
yeah, you said only having to rely on what?
What they say to your face.
Okay.
It's much easier to be duplicitous in a foreign language
Other language. Hmm.
that nobody else knows.
I
I
suppose.
feel like it'd be possible to tell if you really pay attention to like intonation and body language, but even then, it can be,
Well,
hard.
that's the thing. Different cultures
for
have
sure.
different body language too.
Yeah, that's that too. Yeah.
As it's like
That's
there's
why
at
even
least
then it can be
some.
hard to tell.
Yeah, it's like there's at least some groups where they nod their head no, shake it for
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah.
So it's again we're talking. It's like
Depends on how
body
close
language
the language
helps
and
if
culture
you
is.
know the people and the culture.
Hmm.
Yes, which is once again still, I think pretty much the point I was saying was that Strock, it's going to be hard to get anyone to cooperate and give us actionable information. But I feel like we have seen that once you get past a couple generations, books deteriorate, people that knew the information die. The information just by nature of time becomes in itself more difficult to find or find credible, not, oh, a myth about this thing. Because what was the time frame on that thing? It was like 1,500
Which
years?
of the many things?
Oh,
1,000?
a bit
Sorry,
more.
The
Yeah, it was
seducer of
Chris?
whatever.
Persicus.
The seducer of
Persicus.
Persicus.
Yeah.
The founding of the Genovian Empire, I believe, was about 1400, 1480 something, 83, 84 years ago. Depending on which scholarly sources you cite, the old Naotian migration to Old Sanket or early Sanket was anywhere between 200 and 1,000 years before that.
Okay, so at least
16,
5
1700
times,
years.
probably a minimum of 5 times difference in time period.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I feel like information degradation is probably something that is to some degree exponential.
Depends.
Yeah,
No,
so
I'm not trying to be RS again. That one's not necessarily trying to be contrary. It's just it depends on how important the information was considered. Things that are considered important, they put more effort into preserving. That doesn't mean
Yes.
there isn't drift and it becomes legendary.
And unfortunately, we don't know, because everything has the Genavian spin on it, how important it actually is to the people in the area. Well,
I mean,
Aquila
the thing
might
is,
know.
well, again, it was a princess involved, which means there's probably stuff written about. Because royalty tended to get stuff written about them.
Yes, and I'm sure there's a lot of stuff written about the royalty of. God damn it. The previous Elven kingdom before Genavia took over.
Etria?
Yes.
Yeah.
At this point now, this is.
Well, yes, but
It's been a while.
But you're talking also about the losers of a war.
Yeah.
And a history written by the winners.
Is the royalty still in power in Sanket?
It's a different lineage, but their government hasn't changed that much. That's a complicated answer.
Yeah, and this
Different
would,
lineage,
it would still
why?
be because that happens.
Well, because
It
it happens,
does.
and because
Why did it happen is the question. Talking about losers and winners.
Yeah, fair.
well, the lineage of Sanket has probably varied 6-7 times in 1,500-1,700 years. But most
That's actually not bad.
recently, in order to get, I believe this is information in the player's handbook. Maybe, I don't know.
Players.
The player's my character creation guide, my player's handbook.
Mine.
Yep.
Tax handbook.
My precious.
You guys are distracting me. What am I saying?
Player's handbook.
No, about Sanket and their lineage.
Right. Yes. Because there was a Sanket civil war.
Yeah.
In which the Empire pitted two sides against each other because the current leader wasn't in favor of the Genavian Empire, so they instigated a civil war, helped the other side, overthrew the current government, and installed a sympathizer. But, again, we're talking about a lineage that at that time is half a dozen or more familial lines already separated, so.
And there's still a difference between, history in Genavia's words and history in Sanket's words.
Fair. No, I do feel like once you start changing lineages, they're not necessarily going to destroy all the old books, but it's less, not unimportant, less important to keep.
Like, the Swedish royal family has changed lineages 3 times in the last 500 years. And
Well, I think you're the only person here who has any understanding of Sweden anything.
well, that's only because I was stuff
Your
up
meatballs.
because there was band I listened to, they released a song about one of the oldest military units still in existence, which is just celebrating its 500th anniversary. And it's the royal guard for Sweden, and so it goes. So it's like, okay, what's this? Okay, who's this guy that they were about? Oh, he's basically the father of modern Sweden. Okay,
Okay.
and that led me to, it's like, okay, and then the house changed here, and then it changed again here,
Yep.
because it actually will list it out conveniently. And so it's like, it's changed 3 times, but they still carry that history through pretty strongly. Because if nothing else, it's used to create legitimacy.
Yep. You could say the same thing about Egypt, about
Britain.
about France. I mean,
Mhm.
but I do get what you're saying,
Royals
Steven.
love their legitimacy.
Yeah, I do get
I'm
what you're saying.
belaboring this point anyway. I'm leaning towards Songcat anyway after realizing how much difficulty we're going to have through moving through Strock. I don't even know why I'm keeping this going.
Mm.
Oh, sorry, I was having interesting time discussing things.
But yes, I'm leaning towards Songcat just because the interaction problems that we're going to have through. I would personally really like to see the Orcish lands just because I feel like
Yeah,
I
I
would
want to.
like them and get along with them because I bet they're more direct in
Yeah,
their
it's like
dealings.
I do want to see them eventually, and it's a place definitely to check out. But I think that, considering what a rough time we've been having, something that we can potentially, that seems like we can have easier access to stuff.
I will endeavor for that to be the case, but who knows?
Yeah, I know. But again, it's just one of those. It's like, it seems like it will be. We won't be starting off at the same disadvantage draw. Because again, it's like, we'll have people that are much more prone to be hostile toward, and we don't speak the local language, and like I said, you got to go over a mountain chain to get there, basically.
Or you could go by ship.
Oh yeah, that's an option too.
But don't pick where you want to go because you think it's the least difficult. I don't think there is a least difficult, just a differently difficult.
I mean, again, I do want to go to Suncat.
Yeah, it was
I'm
it was
curious
one
about
of
Monkhead.
the ones that was mentioned multiple times when I asked where you guys wanted to go. So
I also think, in general, our ability to sway a hostile side to our way of
Cause.
thinking has. I think the majority of our group is going to have problems with that.
Yeah.
we'll see.
So,
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to get into a bar fight or just piss off the whole country very quickly.
I don't want to do that. I mean, bar fight
And
could
to
be
be
fun.
fair, Akila is who I'm worried about.
Why is Aquila who you're worried about?
Because Akila needles a powerful wizard who could probably snap her out of existence. Some orc.
She was like, no, she was literally going to say something nice to him, and then he kept.
Yes, and you were immediately like, "Nope, never mind. I'm not going to give you that."
That was not in the accent, so it wasn't in character.
Either way, I see some orc making some disparaging comment, and next thing we know, swords are drawn. Just fair. Jack's characters don't seem to be able to be the bigger person either, but
Yeah.
successfully getting through Strock seems like the kind of place where you're going to need to be like very diplomatic about who you piss off or who you are like not incredibly nice to, while also not seeming weak, probably in the target.
But also
And I
maybe
don't
not but also maybe not seeming too strong. because
Yeah.
that could paint a different target on your back. It's like, ooh, challenge.
Either way, I don't think any of us are socially adept enough to avoid that one. And a few of us would get into a fight
You
very
don't
quick.
have to be socially adept. You just have to be able to control the other people.
Yeah. We're so good at that.
Sounds ominous.
I said, I feel like if Ander could survive by himself for a while, he could probably make some friends. But that's if he could get through long enough to actually talk to people. And that I don't know if he could. Feel like I could actually, and I don't know if it's even feel like make them think I was on their side. Like I said, I think he would legitimately probably like the orcs because when you were describing the chief of 1,000, it was
Yeah,
like
that sounded really cool.
Does
like
sound
yeah,
really
no,
cool.
he definitely had the right of this. I kind of feel like.
Yeah, and it's like I don't disagree with that as it was as Jack presented it to us. It's like I thought it's like, yeah, that makes sense and it sounds really cool. But pretty sure that would be a rough go.
So, and sounds like we're going to Sanket then.
Grab your sunscreen.
And a lot of water bottles. We have a
But
druid.
also,
A druid and cleric. It doesn't
I was
matter.
well, we also have Tolly
Yeah,
who can
they
make
have a
food and
magic rain
water.
stick.
Yep.
Yeah, but also make sure to
Magic
grab
rain
a
stick.
coat because it gets cold at night.
It's the middle of
The
summer.
magic rain stick.
No, it's not. It's heading towards fall.
Thankfully, we have climate-controlled sleeping quarters.
What?
Is that supposed to be a what from Shliva? Because the dome.
No, sorry.
They're heading towards fall.
Something entirely unrelated.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Good, because I was a little perplexed by that.
I don't know what time of year it is in real life. I can't expect to be known what time of year it is in game.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's South Carolina, so seasons
hard
kind
to
of
tell.
hardly matter.
I was about to say, yeah, you do live in an area where Mother Nature is bipolar, like half the year.
No,
Yeah,
we spend more of the
also
year above
literally-
80 degrees than below it.
I also literally don't leave my home, so
I mean, except to
Same.
go to hotels.
it's a fun dichotomy. I'm either inside here or inside a place that I don't recognize.
Yep.
Oh, that sounds terrible, honestly.
I actually don't think I've been outside my house unless you count stepping onto the porch to grab a package from Amazon in like a week.
A week.
Was
I usually don't really
Probably
leave.
I
not
was
good.
totally wrong, by the way. I got transport with plants and tree stride confused.
Yes.
It's a very similar spell, except it's not.
Right. Yes.
Fifth level, I don't need to teleport wherever the fuck I feel like.
Right.
Yet.
Sixth level, I get to teleport wherever the fuck I feel like.
Mhm.
Oh, Christ.
And then 7th level, we get plane shift.
Oh yeah. That's a whole totally other thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah,
I
that's
might
the one
have a
that's gonna
banishment
fuck
spell
us
in here somewhere.
Yeah, you have banishment, but that's not really
We
a
haven't really
transportation
had-
spell.
No.
Yeah, it's like a
That's
mean,
a,
you know.
I need you to go away right now spell.
Yeah. I mean,
technically-
it is
hang on-
transportation.
hang
You know,
on a minute.
teleportation or something.
Yeah. But again, it's one of those where it's just, I just need you to go
It's
away
just
for a
kind of
little bit.
random. It's just
I'll deal
random.
with you
know?
later.
Yeah, it's 4th level.
Yep.
Yeah, send to another plane of existence. It says see page 217. So
What level are we right
there
now?
go.
It is.
We're level
8th.
8 right now.
8.
So you have 4th level spells. At 9th level, you will unlock 5th level spells.
Yeah, what am I gonna do? My next level gives me a new blood curse, but it's not like I can go train for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get an
Christian,
actual
were you
spell
gonna say
slot till
something
11th
just
level.
now?
Fuck.
I was just looking at banishment. I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out whether or not you could use this as a like poor man's teleportation, and technically,
I banished
yes.
myself to this place.
For a minute or so at a time.
Yeah.
Like, what? I mean, I might
I
just
thought
need
it's
to be here
permanent
for
if
a
you're
minute, you know?
If you're native to that plane.
right.
Yeah.
So she
So if
could
you're
banish
on-
herself out of some other plane.
Yeah, if we were in the Feywild, she could get out, but
Bye,
Yeah,
guys.
probably.
Good luck.
That could work.
No, take us with
Wow.
you.
Eh.
And you don't have enough 4th level spell slots to do that for everybody.
Nope, not at present, for sure.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You would have to have come from a different plane of existence. So
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Nope, no poor man's teleport.
Not really.
Oh yeah. Also, I'm wondering how we're gonna do the grim psychometry thing that I get next level.
I don't know. What nonsense do you get?
I'm. Yeah, that's what exactly is it? I gotta look. It's just one of those I looked and it's like, all right, that's the thing I get.
yeah, I was just looking at what 5th level spell am I going to get and never use.
Yeah, my controlling people.
Yeah, it looks like I don't get anything special at 9th level, but
Means you get a new spell.
Yeah, you get access to 5th level spells.
I tend to get something most levels because I don't get spells. Except for 17th. For some reason, 17th level I get nothing. It's weird.
at 17th level, I get to fly. Super exciting.
Yeah, Grim Psychonomy is one of those features that I'm really not impressed by.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, how am I supposed to even use it in your setting?
Yeah. Because evil is ill-defined. I'd probably use the same rules that detect good and evil does, in that it would work for undead, fiends, maybe fae.
Yeah, but what does detect good and evil do?
It detects undead, fiends, maybe fae. It does what it says on the tin.
Okay, well, because this one is like, you can discern details of an object.
Yeah,
So what is that going to mean in this situation?
depends on the object and what details I have to give you. I can't give you any specifics. You're not asking about an actual object.
I'm not sure how it will work.
I don't know. What's something you could have used it on? I mean, going back to the necromantic rod that Ander found, if you used Grim Psychotomy on something like that, you would be like, oh, this is a Lich Prince's artifact. It was instrumental in doing necromancy stuff. It's not an identify spell, so it wouldn't tell you exactly what it is, but it would ping as significant. Probably give you some lore around it, maybe like legend lore. I'd have to think about it, because again, I don't really like Grim Psychotomy. But again, I don't like most of the Blood Hunter stuff, because again, I made my own class, which you don't want to play.
It's not that I don't want to play it, it's just...
Yeah, we don't need to get
We
into
could...
it. I apologize for making that quip. We don't need to get into it.
It's like that's an unfair quip. I
Um,
don't know, is there
so
anything we can work on with it then?
perhaps,
Or to replace it with something? I don't know.
I mean, a lot of classes have features every now and then that are not super useful, but we can talk about it. I mean, we'll see. That's we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
is
it's
it-
fine.
Okay, never mind.
What?
I was going to ask about that, but if we're dropping it, I don't want
Here's the real question. What's more appropriate for a Zadok spell? Synaptic Static or Scrying?
Scrying would be cool.
I think synaptic static thematically fits better.
All knowing, but
But you
Well,
do have a lot of eyeballs.
blast people's
You know.
minds and then make them hear gibberish, probably.
I mean, that one sounds more fun, honestly.
Why not both?
Ooh.
Because you
'Cause I
can't
only-
take both right away.
Because
I only
what?
get-
Ever.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Can't do that.
Yeah, that's true. I can technically swap
You
something else out.
absolutely can, my
Mhm.
friend.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, okay. Another spell he'll never use.
Well, I have been sitting on suggestions since, like, God
Forever.
knows.
I don't know why. It's one of the best spells in the game.
Yeah, I
Every
like
time
suggesting.
So, specifically, every time I've ever planned to use that, right before, like, I sit there going, okay, let me think this through. And then right before I enact it, something happens that just, well, never mind, fuck.
Whoa.
You gotta be quicker on the
Some of
draw.
these 5th level spells are good.
Yeah, 5th level gives some pretty good spells.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm just gonna cast. I don't know how the fuck you say it. Geas.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Gaius?
Gaius.
I was
Gaius.
just looking at that one.
Gesh?
It's Gaius.
Geese.
I think Gaelic
Geese.
is Gesh.
Yes.
Yas.
I'm gonna summon some geese.
Yeah.
Anyway, that spell.
No,
is,
not geese.
Honk.
Ah,
Worst
And it
thing.
lasts 30 days.
it's a lot of
Oh,
geese.
God.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's
Gesh.
also
Geese.
it's also reminiscent of Moriadessa because Yeah.
Mm.
That's pretty cool. Ooh.
Yeah.
obviously I wouldn't. Well, it's so much easier as a class that has all spells and just needs to prepare them.
Mhm.
So I don't need to worry about that shit.
Yeah.
If I want to, I have that spell.
That's kind of the thing I like about those kinds of classes. That's like, I can have it. I don't need a stupid book.
It's
Then
rough
there's-
when you
Aggressive wave
it's
seems
rough
pretty
when
cool.
you don't prepare those spells.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I have a spell that would be perfect in this situation.
Still
If
rough.
only I had.
I mean, but you still have to do that as a wizard. But then you can lose all of those spells. I mean, I get that you get a wider variety as a wizard, but ugh.
I don't even have that problem because I've picked fairly, like, general use kind of spells.
Yeah, but you're
Mine
the
is always
oldest
just like,
wizard.
well, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum of,
Mm.
do I want to use this though, or will I need that spell slot for something else later?
That's fair.
It's
It's
less
gonna be
about
a
having
legend
the
lore
option.
spell.
I feel like most of the time I actually have a spell that would be useful in the situation. It's just like, would it be more useful later?
Yeah,
Or do I just not have anymore because I've already used one?
every time I play a warlock, I have to shove aside the if about my spell slots. It's like
Mm-hmm.
too fucking bad. If it comes to a situation where I need to have a spell and I don't have a spell, okay, bye.
Oh well.
Yeah, and
It's hard.
I've been steering towards that more lately. Like, just go ahead and use them
Mhm.
when the situation comes up, and just deal with the regret later. Because I feel like that's at least then I took action as opposed to like holding on to them until, oh well, okay, everything's done, and I
It's me with like rare items in video games. It's like I don't want to use it, but then if I don't use it, I'll go the whole game without using it. So sometimes I just like whatever, I'll just use it now. Screw it.
Yeah. Ooh, I
Happens.
know what blood curse I want next.
okay.
I have a spell called
Anything else related to
Contagion
the
I
actual
really wanna
game we
use.
played?
Yeah, we haven't really
Yeah.
talked much about the actual game during this episode.
We talked some about it,
Yeah.
Some.
but then we went off on our own direction.
Yeah,
We
I
do
mean,
that a lot.
That's what we're going to
anything in particular that stood out to you guys?
Well, we've already discussed
Just
how
the
we all
pettiness
ended up
of-
liking. Oh, yeah.
What?
I was
the
gonna say,
funniness of
Yeah.
Malkavir and Nazgapal.
Yeah. I mean, I knew they weren't gonna like each other, but geez,
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
childish.
they're both too old for that.
the problem is they're
Still
probably
fun to watch.
both
Mhm.
two of the most powerful people in that room, and I feel
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
it's a bell curve kind of thing. Like the inexperienced would probably be the same way. You get to a middle ground where you learn to just bite your tongue and deal with the situation. And then you get to a point where you're so used to not ever having to do that anymore because who's going to stop me?
Mhm.
I take it you've never been part of any sort of democratic council ever.
I try to avoid working with others when I can.
Well, there you go.
I'm starting to lean
Yeah,
towards that
fair.
direction too, honestly.
Mm.
Alcazir's a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
yeah.
knows he's a dick too.
Yeah, that's kind of the worst part of it.
He's doing it anyway.
And he's enjoying it.
Should be pointed out, how many times has Jack mentioned that it's Jack? I think by extension, we just call Jack a giant dick.
I mean,
Sorry, Jack.
Okay.
It's
I'm
not
not.
untrue.
I don't know. You're not as much of an asshole as you've called yourself. Doesn't mean you're not an asshole, just not as much.
Exploding spellbook that would make the difference.
What?
I like that trick. That was fun. I'm
Yeah,
I'd say it's like,
there's the evidence to the contrary.
yeah, I said he was an asshole. I said
I-
not as much of a one as he likes to say he is.
I was also considering not locking the other one that was magical in case for some reason you didn't detect magic and like this one's not this one doesn't have a lock. Let's just open it up and see what's in there.
Yeah,
No,
but
that
Keela was
wasn't gonna
immediately.
happen.
I know, but Keela was immediately like,
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I was looking for books on her, and anything I found, I was going to do what due diligence I could on it, because
Yeah.
I both
Yeah.
didn't. Ander didn't trust her, and Steven doesn't trust you.
Yep.
fair. It's just again, you were Ander was, not in a good place after what happened to Owen, so Akila wasn't certain if he was going to be thinking that straight.
Yeah, but his fallback was to go strictly emotionless, logical.
It's fair.
Yeah.
But look at it this way: she very much didn't want you killing yourself.
It's interesting. The first 3 pages of that book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
Uh.
there is a
More to it.
so it's either a rudimentary or primitive style of hiding things, i.e., somebody gets through all of the detection,
They open it and there's
open
nothing
it,
there.
and there's nothing in the book, so they stop looking.
Mhm.
Or those 3 pages have something hidden on them.
Yeah.
Maybe even a code to unlock this cipher. Although, now that I'm saying that, I would never keep those things in the same place as a wizard. But
Yeah, considering that one was on the wizard spellbook, so I doubt it's the that would make sense. I think on the actual passed around book, maybe
I don't know.
it'd make
It
more
might
sense.
make more sense to keep it in a different book.
or
But I definitely don't. It's probably not the first one, just because once again, wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if there used to be an illusory script spell there that was dispelled.
Hmm.
Thoughts?
Because illusory script is one of my favorite spells in D&D. It doesn't do a whole hell of a lot, but is like the most spy utility type spell that I think that exists.
Don't think so, because I think we accounted for.
I was just playing outside of meta, outside of dice rolls. So
Yeah, fair.
I can't speak to those.
Because I do know for a fact that there were two that I could detect. There was the abjuration.
You saw two
And
auras.
Yeah.
Fair.
If you look at an object and you see an evocation aura on it, there is between 1 and a billion evocation spells on that object.
Fair.
We kind of saw that with the undead, where they'd layered a spell on top of that one and tried to hide it.
Kinda, yeah.
On the rogue zombies, they layered another necromancy spell on top of the first one.
So wouldn't I have seen an illusion effect on that too? Or is that not an illusion that scrambled the text? I mean, it doesn't seem like abjuration or evocation, but I also haven't gone through what spell that is.
Yeah, illusory script is in fact an illusion spell.
Yeah.
But
Well, that was the one that had the text magically scrambled, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And getting even more meta, strictly speaking, you can use Magic Aura to hide an effect completely, or you can use Magic Aura to disguise an effect as a different effect. So it could be an illusion spell disguised as an evocation spell.
God
Or
damn it.
one of my favorite ones to do is to hide necromancy magic with radiant or some sort of divine magic. That's one of my favorite tricks as a DM.
Oh, that's
But I'm
fun.
an asshole, so
It seems kind of rude.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, it's not hurting me, so I love it.
anyway.
Cool.
It
Paranoia is going to be.
It comes with the DM screen. When you sign up to be a DM, they give you a DM screen, and also they turn you into a giant asshole.
Yeah, Magic Aura
whole ritual.
is genuinely one of my favorite spells. I cannot say that I've ever taken it as a PC because I don't see the point. Similar to the glyph of warding, I think it's a really cool spell. As a PC,
no,
hard to justify.
It's very rare that
There are
you
spells
use
you can take.
up for.
Not the 5th edition one.
Right. Yeah,
And I think that.
Drink.
Yep.
I was gonna say I think that speaks to the magical aura because I'm fairly certain I have read through like every spell that I have access to on D&D Beyond just out of interest. Like, oh, I find that stuff interesting. Like I used to have a copy of the Monster Manual and the Player's Handbook even when I wasn't playing. Like I had the Monster Manual when I didn't need it because I wasn't a DM. I just thought it was really cool to read. So like I've read through spells for that. I don't remember ever seeing Magic Aura. Like completely blanked that it was a thing.
Yeah,
it does what it says on the tin.
Yeah, it's got two different naming conventions is the problem. It's called Nystool or Nistle's Magic Aura. Or if you don't want to use canon or Forgotten Realms canon, it's also called Arcanist's Magic Aura. But like I said, it's not a spell you really pay attention to as a player because there is no point in taking this spell unless you are some shisty, shady type character who would use it to hide yourself from the party, or if you're a druid trying to hide themselves away from the arcane senses, or something.
Or a warlock.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Magic Aura is exclusive to wizards and Arcana domain clerics.
Yeah, I think I noticed it on here somewhere.
That would explain some things.
probably where I've seen that.
Yeah, I don't
Yep.
even think that Eldritch Knights or what are the rogues?
Arcane
Arcane
Trickster.
I don't think they get access to it either. I could be wrong though, because
I don't recall seeing it when I was playing Arcane Trickster,
it's a second level spell.
but that could be why.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Arcane Tricksters are quarter casters, so you wouldn't get second level spell until 7th.
I don't remember.
5th level, 7th level.
Well, because
Quarter casters are
they get wizard
Okay.
spells, don't they?
Yeah,
So
I've
they would eventually
they
get
do,
it.
so that they might get
Yeah.
access to it.
It would just take a while.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that explains why I never read this card, because it does say Arcana Cleric, and I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
that's not relevant to Tali. So
Nope, it's not
I
relevant.
have
to Holly.
seen this in here.
Your card looks all shimmery when
Yep.
you hold it up because of the green screen.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, an arcane
Speaking of the
trickster
yellow.
would be able to pick that up at 7th level.
Okay.
That's what I thought. It was late,
Mhm.
so it wouldn't like using it as a deceptive measure to like
Mhm.
hide yourself away wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense.
And they only
No,
get
not at
2
that
second
point.
level spell slots a day. And
Oh, there are way more interesting things to use at that point.
yeah, there really are.
Mhm.
Yeah. Again, especially the casting spell 30 days subsequently to
Mhm.
get the semi-permanent effect.
Mhm.
It is also is it semi-permanent. Is also a big ask, unless of course you have a game that does quite a few downtime
Yeah.
like sections.
Mhm.
In that case, I could see that as a profitable business for an arcane trickster rogue.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll fucking hide that shit for you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyway. And this is how Christian comes up with character concept ideas that I will never play because
Oh.
of thought trains like that.
Yep.
Anyway. I cast a druid spell today. I'm almost done.
God, that's right.
Oh.
8-hour casting. What the fuck?
Well, it takes 8 hours to cast, but the effects last for a whole year. So, I mean, it's pretty good bang for your buck.
Yeah, again, it's just one of those.
That's not bad.
I was like, thank God that's not a combat spell.
Right.
You'd be dead.
Many times over.
That's not that that's funny.
I mean,
but
no spell
You'd be
over one action to cast is a combat spell.
It's true.
You can't even cast 1 minute spells in combat. It's not going to work.
No.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean that's the thing. You jump from one action to 6 times that long.
Mm.
So they go from action to minute.
like
Okay.
my 10-minute spells.
I mean, I think we covered just about everything. I figured we were going to have a short after show, but you guys really went away with it, which is fine. I mean, I love
Well,
hanging
it
out.
also took us quite a while to finally settle on
Decided to ramble.
Suncat.
Yeah.
Which, hey, the good news is that means we won't be spending all this time next session having this.
Well, I would very much appreciate, as I've mentioned before, conversation throughout the week on the Discord channel that I created for you guys.
Look, I'm starting classes at Trident next week.
So we're going to Linmus, right?
Right?
Exciting.
That sounds right.
Fuck
I'll
you,
prepare that.
Christian.
That's what I remember.
Fuck you all.
We're going to Estia.
Why are we going to
They
SDI?
got a giant fucking volcano there.
They do.
A
Very large
giant
volcano.
fucking volcano?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. With
In Estia or the other
Linmus.
one?
Linmus.
Okay.
And it's also a god or something.
Yeah.
And
Go hang out in a god volcano.
yeah, where it's fucking giants.
A god Kano.
A god Kano. Okay.
I mean, fucking giants. Maybe if it was that one we met in the Dwarven City.
She wasn't a giant.
Is she not the same size as?
She was an Ifrit, though.
Yeah.
Look,
Oh,
when
yeah.
that's actually a thing,
I'm not
It's
talking
like,
anymore.
I'm sorry, but it's like she wasn't a giant. We've seen fire giants.
She was just a super big lady.
Yeah.
Yep. Just an Afridi.
But
Okay.
Keela was very enamored by.
Well, I think we've covered everything there is to cover.
And more.
And more. I think in a less crowded situation, it would be fun to play out some of the other NPCs that didn't really have much to say. But they were just sort of there to listen and handle political fallout, because I know you guys weren't going to do any of that anyway.
That's true.
Nah.
Listening.
Look, we just want to do shit. We don't want to deal with the politics.
Yeah, I don't know why you guys play my game, but you keep showing up, so I'm gonna keep doing it.
Because we wanted Dungeons and Dragons.
Because your overarching story is very compelling.
That is true. That's the real
Yeah.
thing. It's like,
That is, yeah. Very
and also,
compelling story.
it's like, and also, come to like you.
I just drag you kicking and screaming the whole way.
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah, if you actually wrote
Kicking can be fun sometimes.
those wrote this all down as a book, it'd probably be the end, because then I could just read it.
All right,
It wouldn't be our story.
No.
He'd write.
no book, then.
Look, he's not going to write our story. We might show up as side characters, bumbling along, but
Yep.
It'd
Only
probably be a
only
better story, honestly.
Only the characters we don't play anymore. They're
oh
jacks.
god.
What's
Yeah,
a
Penelope's a
character I don't
fucking
play
badass in my
anymore?
head.
She was always a badass.
She
Don't
was,
get
she just-
me started.
She was.
I'll say
She just got so fucked up.
I have made it known many times where I want to find her, and I think that's badass as hell.
Did we ever share the write up about in the solo sessions that we had? Did we ever share any of that with the group?
I think
Nope,
I
nope,
left that
nope.
up to you, so I don't think so. If you're asking me, I don't think so.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was asking you.
hmm
I don't imagine anybody else would remember those, but yeah, but Penelope did some pretty fucking
Oh yeah,
dumb things, yes, but I think pretty awesome things too.
you can't do awesome things without also doing dumb things.
I mean, that is how I exist.
Awesome things
Not
are
a-
just
Yeah.
dumb things that actually work.
Yeah,
True. I guess, like me not diverting my gaze during really dumb idea, but it worked.
If you don't take risks, oftentimes blind risks, you're not really doing anything.
It's like risk or reward, huh?
Yeah, it's all about risk and
What do I want?
reward.
Look, I just decided I wasn't going to look away.
Of course, there's also something to be said for due diligence and discretion. It's a real balancing act.
Due diligence. What's that?
What is
something
discretion?
ineffectual, apparently.
Never heard
But
that
yes,
word in
I
my
was going to
life.
agree that, yeah, I think the best moments Andrew has had are probably ones where he looks back and goes, God damn it, why was I... Where was my brain?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
any takers on whether he'll get stabbed by jumping in front of a weapon this time? I didn't jump in front of the blast to save anyone.
No, that was me.
Yep.
Yeah. And the High Arbiter.
I am putting all of my gold pieces on you getting mauled by a giant badger.
Do you mean?
You mean,
Maybe.
Okay.
we're going to ask the same thing. Do you mean Wolverine?
Yeah. Well, no, actually, I was about to ask if he meant that specific Wolverine. I couldn't remember its name, though, so that's why I paused.
Fun
Okay.
fact, Krushka, it means peach.
Mm.
See how creative I am with my naming?
Aw,
Indeed.
it's adorable. It's a little peach. Little
I
fuzzy
mean-
I do-
peach.
Reed's name
And-
was just a shortened version of New Plant, because she was green.
I do think at a certain point, though, I am actually interested. That I was wondering where the fuck that name came from.
What,
It
Kershka?
always Reet,
Oh.
because
Well,
it always
actually-
sounded vaguely insulting to me.
Well, no, here's the actual thing. Nurit actually a happy coincidence. Her original name was Reet because it is a very minor character series.
And we'll never know.
I mean, it's in one of the books, and it's a character that it looks like another character is about to start a romance with, and then she never shows up again.
No,
Even Akila's voice lines are redacted.
Yeah,
Oh, God
so
damn it! But
See,
what?
you need to go back to a headset.
No.
So
No,
all of the
move-
proper nouns that you were trying to say during that sentence, we didn't hear any of them.
I'm
You
sorry.
kept leaning away
Yeah,
from the
I heard
mic.
something about a
Well, look-
series.
So some
Is it the
person in some
Discworld, I
book
assume?
did something with something else that resulted in something.
No, it's character in my favorite book series named Reet. Like I said, Nurit was just a happy coincidence. But no, it's a very minor character in that book series who, it looks like she's going to be entering into a relationship with a major character in the book who's named Carrot. That's not actually his given name, but that's what everyone because he's the shape of a carrot. Don't ask.
He should really see a doctor.
No, it's just he's very long, tapered.
Right.
Well, I for one am glad I didn't miss that information.
Well, no, it's like, but it looks like she's about to enter into this relationship with him, and
Then she
No,
just
then
And
she's
then.
not- and then she's never seen again in the books. Look, my mic fine during the session.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Why is it that after the session it goes?
It does summon the session too.
tired.
Because
It
you don't
does?
tend to talk as long in the session. You have very short, usually insulting quips, and that's about it.
Promise they are not as insulting as you think they are.
Akila needs to work on her delivery.
I mean, again, she is communicating in what is her
In what is
What
her?
is-
Yep.
third
Now it's
language.
just doing this to
Third
me.
language. Okay. She's just
Yeah,
moving her
that's-
mouth. She's not even talking. She's just messing with us.
She's doing the whole "I'm in a tunnel" thing on the phone when you don't want to talk to somebody.
That's not true. I enjoy talking to you idiots.
No, I was gonna say that we do need to start taking, at a certain point here, taking bets on each adventure on whether or not that's gonna be the one to finally put Ander in the ground. I feel like his luck has got to be running out at some point.
Maybe, but I don't know. You're the one who usually. I mean, the last fight you ended up in the best shape of anyone.
Right. Which is why I feel like he's just burning through his luck.
We'll see.
I think I've made death saves once.
I mean, so have I, technically.
Yeah, there was that time Aquila almost killed you.
I was saying, I think it was Akila
I think
was the one
I think that was about. I think that was really the only time.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I'm like, I think Akila was the one time I've had to make death saves.
The submarine
That's
base.
right.
There was the submarine base
And
where you
we
were.
Yeah.
nearly
Oh,
fucking
that's
died.
right.
That's the reason we didn't explore the submarine
Right.
base further.
Yeah.
That's-
Vander was
Well,
basically on his last leg.
well,
got hit by a
and
tidal wave.
Linnea.
Yeah, she doesn't matter though. Nobody cares about
Actually have to make death saves though?
her. You took enough damage that you were on the injury table. I
Mhm.
believe that Redna shoved.
Yeah,
He's the one who saved you from drowning to death. I don't think you
Yes.
ever had to make death saves because we weren't
Right.
You got-
actually in combat.
Yeah,
So
you were
That was
fished
it.
out of there quick enough that you didn't need to worry about death saves, but
Yeah.
you
Well, it's
did
just
go
that
unconscious.
I do
right.
remember that because I remember Tali was originally trying to run. Basically, I was like, nope, grabbing her. It's like, nope, you're going in there to get. I saw that it didn't have the green outline.
But yeah, I remember that I was
Interesting about
unconscious and that Redna was the reason I didn't drown.
Mhm.
One of his many super awesome moments. But yeah, I was
Kinda
like, I don't
flipped you
remember
over.
actually having to make death saves during that.
Mhm.
Yeah, you didn't.
It wasn't something I was going to outright kill you for.
Fair.
Not that time.
Yeah. So I think the one time is when Aquila jumped me.
Mhm.
Because I failed my wisdom save.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Look, the
Like-
couple of times, it's like the few times I've failed my wisdom save, that was the one time I didn't have an enemy to go to fight. Or that was closest to me.
Mhm.
I usually try to keep enemies between me and... Usually. Doesn't always work.
But considering how long Andrew's been around, the fact that that's been the only time, and he does have a weird penchant for either throwing himself in front of stuff or running into combat at weird times.
Frequently while wearing armor of Agatha.
Fair, but still, has no business being in where he is.
Yeah, he really doesn't. It's impressive he's survived this long.
My point.
Oh, I know. I don't disagree with you.
Like I said, I feel like this would be an interesting betting pool.
I don't know if I want to take the bet, though.
I'll bet you in year-old gummy bears. How about that?
Pass.
Oh.
Stale gummy bears are the best.
I've never been a huge fan of gummy bears in general.
Oh, man, I love gummy candy.
Yeah.
God
I like
damn
the
it.
way it
God
tastes.
damn it. God.
I prefer chocolate.
Yeah,
What?
as I was saying it, it came out of my mouth and I was like, God damn.
Thank you for giving us money. I hope this is worth it.
That.
I think I missed the joke.
Yeah, I think I did too, actually.
Just that we're talking about gummy bears on our after show. That's the entire joke. That's it.
Oh.
That's completely irrelevant, nonsensical topic that these people
I
have paid
mean,
good money for. And the fact that
again-
we've been doing this for like 2 hours now.
Yeah, 2.5. Yeah, 2 hours, actually. Yeah, it's like, look, my excuse, as always, is that I've been up since stupidly early.
Well, you can't say we don't give you good quantity. And what they always say, quantity over... That's not what they say.
Alright, good
I
night,
mean-
everyone.
Look, there's some good discussions that happen.
Yes, there are.
Not always
Yeah.
relevant to... Look, there's also garbage that happens, but you're gonna find that in any proper after show.
Yep. I think most people
I-
assign a certain amount of time for their after
Mhm.
shows just to help kind of
We
curtail
we
this
don't.
kind of stuff. But I'm happy to just, let you guys talk, hang out for a bit, and if
Yeah,
they want to
well, I
watch, they
think-
can watch.
I think on one level it shows the fact that, we actually do enjoy talking to each
Yeah.
other. Nice, because it's not just that we're here to do this show. It's like, no, we actually are kind of friends.
That and we're all in lockdown and
Totally.
I have very little social interaction outside of this right now.
Yeah, this is basically my real socializing, which
But
is
sure,
why-
let's say I like you people.
Yeah.
That sounds better.
You're not
I live
terrible.
with 3 friends, so I think I'm good, but I still like
Oh, I like
I
you
still enjoy
guys.
talking to y'all.
Uh-huh.
I like all of you.
I
Alright.
do too. Ooh,
Seriously though, is there anything else game related we need to discuss?
Is Arlene being attacked by a giant bird?
No, I was lowering the blinds and
Ah.
it was a lot squeakier
Oh,
than I
that's
thought it
what-
would be. Yeah, I was like screaming at me.
You're over here off the screen messing with stuff. You're like, oh no, oh, don't chirp, 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 chirp.
Oh, it's
Yeah, I
not
was
as
trying to
good as
reach
when
the
she
string
yelled
and
that
pull
food
it.
was here at the end of the
We don't have to bring that
We
up.
don't need to talk about
okay, we
that.
could just forget that ever
It's
happened.
in the stream. But it was
Yeah,
adorable. It was honestly
no, I
great.
don't like
It was, after that 5-hour combat and things ended on such a downer. That was so nice that that's what we ended on.
Yep.
Because it was funny.
The worst part is it wasn't even food. It
And
was
we
just
needed
some
that
random
laugh.
car that stopped in front of our house for a full 2 minutes. I'm like, I don't even know why they were stopped there.
Well, that's creepy.
They left. I was like, okay, that's way to go, random stranger.
Way to get my hopes up.
We were having hibachi that night, so I was excited.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I need to figure out something to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next week,
I
we're
think
gonna
we're done
decide to
here.
go places.
Yeah. Let's see about that.
I said we're going to decide. I didn't say we were actually going.
Well, I think we have
So-
decided, unless
We
something
have, but our
changes in the next couple
gonna say,
days.
Go
I
to
was
the
saying it's like
Feywild, right?
our characters haven't decided. We have.
Sure.
No, nobody's Ashley though. She's just along for the ride.
We did
Were you
ask
guys
if she'd
going?
like to come with us.
Right.
So this is kind of part of that.
Okay. Well, I really hope this upcoming week doesn't go by as quickly as this last week, because I have a lot of stuff to prepare.
Yeah.
I seriously
lot of-
don't know what happened to most of the days last week. This week
Yeah.
flew
And then I
by.
took Thursday off too, so it went by even faster.
Oh, mine didn't. It's like at least the beginning of my week was terrible. Had 2 full shifts.
I
And
was
that's-
probably just I spent time preparing my character for the DM Chronicle
Oh
one
yes,
shot,
little Isaac.
and was very excited to play that character. So
I mean, I was a bit sad he didn't get to actually really play out any of his abilities.
yeah, I was a rune knight that didn't actually use any of my runes, but
I know, because I saw you
one
because
shots.
I saw at the end where you just enlarged yourself.
Yep.
It's like, oh, that's a little sad. You didn't get to do any of that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem
But
fair to grow to large size when you're fighting small and smaller creatures.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like the donkey was great, or the mule.
The
Sorry,
mule. Rigel was a mule.
I corrected myself.
Oh, okay. That's what that was. I was just about to ask you. It's like I swear I heard you refer to yourself as Rigel at one point. Is that intentional? Because I didn't watch. It was during my other D&D session,
Right.
So I was there in spirit, but I did not actually watch it.
Yeah, little Isaac had a mule named Rigel.
It was very confusing to me.
It's
Yes, considering I
know.
played a different character named Rigel in one of your groups.
Yes,
Oh,
I will stop.
yeah.
talking.
I was like, I mean, that sucked when it looked like the mule was gonna die.
Yeah, they were gonna kill my Rigel.
No, I was like, what? No, take the others. Don't kill Rigel.
And no, Rigel had nothing to do with the character I played in Christian's group. It had everything to do with this wonderful little guy here, who nobody is going to recognize.
I feel like I've
See, go
seen
back.
that before.
Farscape
bring it
reference.
back.
You want to see more
Rigel?
Rigel?
It's Jack's favorite sci-fi show.
It does look familiar. I don't
Yeah, I feel like I've seen something like that before.
know what. It reminds me of that one radish spirit from Spirited Away.
No, that's not what I'm getting.
It's
I am
totally
not a
different.
radish. I am the Dominar of Hyneria.
People are still paying for this.
They are. They're still paying for this.
Oh my
Thank
God,
you
yes,
for
we're still-
giving us money.
But not the creators of Farscape. Just you people.
We are in no way affiliated with Farscape or any of the producers, actors, or anyone else who gave them money to make their show.
Oh, if they'd like to give us money, we'd take it.
That is true. I'd love to run a Farscape game. I've been
I like money.
slowly writing a Farscape game for a long time. Okay. That was my own digression there. I'm
we
just
gotta go.
as we gotta go. We've devolved
Yeah.
into nonsense at this point.
Gotta get food.
Yeah.
Thank
Gotta
you.
Work on reading.
Gummy
Becoming
bears,
for,
Rigel.
Thank you for listening to our nonsense.
so
I
much
hope it was
nonsense.
entertaining and maybe a little bit informative. Cool. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Tomato.
Bye. Thanks for the money.
Tomato.